Breaking news, ladies and gentlemen, a Cannibal CME launches towards Earth, causing radio blackouts. We have updates on the Olympic controversy, the opening ceremony. After that CrowdStrike outage the other day, or the update that caused millions of people around the world to either get stuck at an airport, they couldn't go through customs, the border patrol, even local law enforcement in some places, the London Stock Exchange. But after I did a podcast on that, I went to the store and I was talking about gold and silver and having a little bit of cash on hand and having some like junk silver, pre-50s, dimes, etc., quarters. Also have some gold bars and silver coins if you can. And I go to the store and the computer shut down. All they're taking is cash. Luckily, I had cash on hand. Then the next day, I go to a gas station in Durango, or not, it's actually in Bayfield, and the whole store shut down because their computers are down. That's in the next city. And then yesterday, I go to Durango and another store, their computers are down. So all I could do was pay cash. So I don't know about you, but it's always good to diversify. And gold and silver and precious metals have been a hedge against inflation for literally thousands of years. If you have a 401 or IRA and you want to secure your future, you should give Noble Gold Investments a call. 1-877-646-5347. Awesome customer service, 5-star reviews, A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. They will gift you, if you convert your 401 or IRA and you qualify, 10 ounces of solid silver, either a solid silver American flag 10-ounce bar, or you can get these collectible Trump rounds, which are 1 ounce, and you'll get 10 of these to add to your collection at no additional cost. Check out leakprojectgold.com. Also go to noblegoldinvestments.com. You'll thank me later. Jump back into the presentation right now. Hello. BRICS, gold-backed currency, is beginning of the end for U.S. dollar. This is Washington Guru. The BRICS alliance has made significant strides over the past 2 years in its mission to dethrone the U.S. dollar. The bloc recently confirmed the development of a new currency, and more support around it is being built. The 9-member alliance is expected to give updates on the new currency and expansion at its October summit. BRICS aims to launch a new currency that will be backed by gold as a counter to the U.S. dollar. A common currency will usher the alliance into a new financial era and become a cornerstone for further developments. Furthermore, with the bloc's recent gold buying spree, some financial experts believe that a gold-backed currency could spell the beginning of the end for the U.S. dollar. In an analysis for intelligence consultancy, GIS, published Wednesday, Vahan Roth wrote about gold's recent surge. The precious metal reached an all-time high of $24.80 per ounce on the 17th of July. Roth said the run-up in price is not surprising, given the ongoing geopolitical turbulence in the world. Also, an Aurora Alert. Scientists predict a spectacular northern lights display due to a rare cannibal coronal mass ejection. Find out where and when you can witness this stunning phenomena. We're going to talk a bit about the toxic chemicals crisis. Shocking new studies reveal the presence of dangerous forever chemicals in our food and homes and pets. Learn about the breakthrough reaction that could possibly break down these toxic substances overnight. That's pretty cool. And artificial intelligence is to help think for that. Wildfire devastation, unprecedented arsenic levels in Yellowknife due to wildfires. We're going to look at the environmental and health impacts and the crisis that includes. We're going to talk about the global economy shift. Is the BRICS gold-backed currency signaling the end of the U.S. dollar's dominance? We're going to dive into that, the potential repercussions of this economic shakeup. And once again, we're going to look at the Paris Olympics controversy. A drag performance at the Paris Olympics has sparked debate. Organizers claim it's a nod to Greek mythology, not the Last Supper. We're going to look at that. Stay tuned for the latest updates here at Leak Project. Also, check us out over on Patreon and leakproject.com. Subscribe, hit the bell, be well, and buckle up, Buttercup. Let's get into this. An organizer of the Paris Olympics said that the drag performance during Friday's opening ceremony was a nod to Greek mythology, not the Last Supper. Regardless, just type in Olympics loses sponsors. There are several articles that have pulled up about sponsors that have pulled out of the games because of the opening ceremony backlash. Just saying, it was kind of weird. Thomas Jolly, the artistic director for the ceremony, told French news channel BFM TV on Sunday that the inspiration for the scene was the Greek god Dionysus, according to NBC's Today. His comments come after the opening ceremony included a scene that some said looked like Leonardo da Vinci's painting of the Last Supper. There is Dionysus, who arrives on this table. He is there because he is the god of celebration in Greek mythology. Jolly said, according to NBC, the idea was to have a pagan celebration connected to the gods of Olympus. You will never find in me a desire to mock and denigrate anyone. The opening ceremonies on Friday included a group of performers, some of them in drag. In a scene that some said resembled Da Vinci's painting of the Last Supper, it featured someone painted blue sitting on a table surrounded by fruit, while dancers and other performers stuck poses in the background. One of the performers in the middle was crowned. The official Olympics account also posted photos of the ceremony on the social media platform X, again suggesting it was a reference to Dionysus. The interpretation of the Greek god Dionysus makes us aware of the absurdity, violence between human beings, the Post states. Speaker Mike Johnson was among those who criticized the performance, saying it was a mockery of the Last Supper. And Descamps, a spokesperson for the 2024 Paris Olympics, apologized at a press conference if people took offense to it, but emphasized that that was not their intention. Clearly, there was never an intention to show disrespect to any religious group. On the contrary, I think that Thomas Jolly really tried to celebrate community tolerance, Descamps said at a press conference on Saturday. We believe that this ambition was achieved. If people have taken any offense, we are, of course, really sorry, she added. Dionysus, in ancient Greek mythology and myth, is the god of winemaking, orchards, and fruit, vegetation, fertility, festivity, insanity. There you go. Insanity, ritual madness, religious ecstasy, and theater. He is also known as Bacchus. By the Greeks, the name later adopted by the Romans for a frenzy he is said to induce, called Bacchia, as Dionysus, the liberator, his wine, music, and ecstatic dance free his followers from self-conscious fear and care, and subvert the oppressive restraints of the powerful. Interesting. Now, what do you think? Now, if we were to look at the Last Supper, you've got 6 on each side, 6 people on each side. Jesus is the central figure. So here's where you could say it's not representation of the Last Supper because of the amount of people on each side. I'm counting 8 people on each side, and that's not even the full image there. So in the Last Supper, you have 6 people on each side, and you've got Jesus Christ as the central figure. You have Mary Magdalene on the right side, which is, I think, 2 over. No, she's actually the first one. She is right next to Jesus and on the right side. And then behind that image, you'll see the three different doorways, the largest doorway in the center, and then the 2 doorways after that, in the background representing the triad, the Trinity, the 3. This also represents the zodiac, which is fascinating. There's so much symbolism embedded within this image. There's almost looks like there's 4 doors on each side, and then 3 boxes, images of something inside of those 4 doors. Every piece in the Da Vinci painting has some type of meaning and significance to it. USA Today says, artistic director denies Last Supper was inspiration for Dionysus feast. Rather, the performance is a nod to a pagan celebration featuring Dionysus, the Greek god of fertility, wine, and revelry, portrayed by French singer and actor Philippe Catherine. Dionysus is the father of Sequana, the goddess of the river Seine. So it's the Dionysus feast is what it represents. Let's look at that real quick. The festival of Dionysus, otherwise known as the Greater Dionysia, was the theatrical event of the year in 5th century Athens. Every year in the spring, around March, playwrights would compete to entertain the masses of Athenian citizenry. And that's from Brown University. Let's look at what the Search Labs has to say from AI Overview. In ancient Greece, the god Dionysus, the god of wine and theater, was honored with many festivals, also known as bacchanalia, that included theatrical performances, drinking, and processions. The Great Dionysia, also known as the City Dionysia, this festival was held in the spring and was the most famous of the Dionysia. It featured dramatic performances in the theater of Dionysus, including tragedies written by 3 poets and comedies written by 5 poets. The festival also included a procession with a wooden statue of Dionysus, sacrificial bowls, and choruses. The Anthesteria, the festival was essentially a drinking feast, but some say it was also about placating ancestral spirits and honoring the dead. The name may come from the word anthos, which means flower and may refer to the bloom of the grapevine. The Linnea festival included a procession and dramatic performances. The Little Dionysia, also known as the rustic Dionysia, this festival featured simple, old-fashioned rites. Other festivals that honor Dionysus included the Aschaphoria, which involved carrying grape clusters. This is from Sportskita. Divine intervention? Footage of massive power outage in Paris with only Sacré-Cœur Church lit up goes viral amid Olympics Last Supper controversy. While Nietzsche's shared several photos of the outage, it hasn't been confirmed by any official source. Oh, that's funny. Breaking the news. Major power outage hits large parts of Paris. Marsa.com. Olympic Games. City of Paris experiences a massive blackout a day after the inauguration. People who were outraged by the game's inaugural ceremony are starting to say this is divine intervention. Last Friday, the city of Paris held their opening ceremony at the Olympic Games, but the entire show had a mixed reaction from the people. While many were absolutely thrilled for the excellent level of the presentation. Oh, man. Many even called it impossible to surpass. The more conservative and religious parts of the population that saw this event were completely outraged at some of the symbolism that was presented there. There was a spoof of the famous Leonardo da Vinci painting, The Last Supper, but there were people in drag dancing, and there was a strange appearance from the Greek god Dionysus. However, the most shocking imagery for people was the horseman that appeared galloping on water with a white figure riding it. A day after this presentation, multiple blocks from the city of Paris experienced a blackout. Ocean T. Defender says widespread power outages tonight across several districts in the French capital of Paris. What caused the outages is still unclear. The reports are suggesting a possible cyber attack or sabotage similar to yesterday's arson attack on the French rail network. Ooh, I didn't hear about that in the news. Let's take a look at this real quick. Here's the footage from X, allegedly showing a massive blackout, power outage across several districts in the French capital of Paris. Very, very interesting. I don't know about divine intervention, but I would definitely think, my personal thoughts here, I can't confirm this, but most likely cyber attacks, somebody that was upset with the ceremony, or maybe even before that they were planning on doing it. I don't know, but very, very interesting. And it just goes to show when people feel they're being mocked or their religious beliefs are being questioned, when something happens, then the other side can take that and say, look, see, told you so. Like for me, I didn't really like it. I wasn't a fan of the ceremony. I turned it off. I watched it for maybe a minute, 2 minutes, and I was done. And then I started reading all the reports because I knew some stuff was going to come out. I even took photos of it. I'm like, this is so bizarre. I took a couple photos of it, and then all the news that comes out. Surely I wasn't the only one that was just kind of like, what the heck is this? But it's interesting when you do some more research, what their claims are versus what the media. You've got like the far right, the far left, and then you have a few people in between that are they're kind of analyzing both sides here. I can see the I can see the controversy. Absolutely. And then the 2008 Olympics, the opening ceremonies was a lot different. Go back and watch that. It seemed to be a lot more, how do I put it? Elegant, a lot more elegant. However, I also remember in the Olympics, when China had the Olympics, there was a ceremony in China that showed their basically dominance of the world and dominating the Western nations. This is some interesting propaganda. Once again, I'm not surprised. So there's a lot of stuff out there, and the media picks and chooses what to show, and then we decide what to watch. There's so much data out there that you can see for yourself. Also, okay, next article. Let's look at this. This is from SpaceX.com. An X-flare eruption. Hello, just happened. Blackouts. Oh my. Boom. Look at that. Will you just look at it? Will you just look at it? Pretty intense, huh? Boom. Sun's waking up. Magnetosphere is getting weaker. The Earth's core is slowing down. Some say it's even reversed, but don't worry, because it's a 70-year cycle. It happens every 70 years. Volcanoes are popping. Yellowstone recently had to close down Beaver Basin because one of the hydrothermal vents exploded and tourists ran off. Wow, Yellowstone goes. Scientists are staying up at night because of Mount Rainier. Seismic activity since last year at Mount St. Helens is exceptional. Several hundred earthquakes have been reported around Mount St. Helens just this year alone. So let's look at this article real quick from space.com. The sun has certainly had a busy weekend. Not only has our star fired up multiple M-class flares and coronal mass ejections, but now it's topped it off with a colossal Cannibal X-class solar flare. The eruption peaked July 28th, 10:33, great timing, triggering shortwave radio blackouts across the sunlit portion of Earth. At the time of eruption, including most of Asia and Australia. Wow. That's a lot of radio blackouts. Solar flares are eruptions from the sun's surface that release intense bursts of electromagnetic radiation. These occur when the magnetic energy accumulated in the solar atmosphere is suddenly released. Here's your time. Here's your location. Users of high-frequency radio signals may experience temporary degradation of or complete loss of signal on much of the sunlit side of the Earth. The loss of signal was detected over most of Asia and Australia during the recent X-flare eruption. In case you didn't know, solar flares are classified by size into different classes. An X-class flare is the most powerful. M-class flares are 10 times less powerful. C-class flares are 10 times weaker than an M-class. B-class, 10 times weaker than a C. and an A class 10 times weaker than a B. Each class is further divided by numbers from 1 to 10 and beyond for X class flares, and that indicates the flare's relative strength. An X 1.5 class solar flare erupted from the sun on the 29th of July, as seen by NASA's Solar Dynamics. And this is from the sunspot region 3764. Forecasters have yet to determine whether an Earth-directed CME accompanied the solar flare, according to NOAA's Space Weather Prediction Center, and scientists are still waiting on coronagraph imagery to determine if an Earth-directed CME follows this activity. Now, if it does, it's not the only CME en route. Several CMEs are currently barreling towards Earth, and they're expected to start arriving tomorrow, July 30th. Their presence could trigger strong geomagnetic storm conditions and auras at mid-latitudes. We'll keep you updated on that. This is from phys.org. Yellowknife study warns of unprecedented arsenic release from wildfires. The wildfire season of 2023 was the most destructive ever recorded in Canada, and a new study suggests the impact was unprecedented. It found that 4 of the year's wildfires in mine-impacted areas around Yellowknife, which is the Northwest Territories, potentially contributed to up to half of the arsenic that wildfires emit globally each year. Wow. The work led by researchers at the University of Waterloo and Nipissing University is the first to calculate the amount of arsenic that was stored in areas at high risk of wildfires around Yellowknife. Looking at data from the past 5 decades, the team estimates that 2023 wildfires potentially released between 69 and 183 tons of arsenic. Arsenic, a potent toxin, which the World Health Organization associates with diabetes, cardiovascular disease, various cancers, and infant mortality, can be transformed by wildfire and released into the environment from the soils that normally sequester it. Also, the frequency and severity of wildfires is expected to increase because of climate change, and researchers caution in any region that has annual wildfires that intersect with past or present mining and smeltering operations, future fires could present a major risk for releasing stored toxins back into the environment. Yellowknife has a decades-long history of mining, which has led to the accumulation of arsenic in the surrounding landscape. However, Yellowknife is not unique in this because Canada has many industrial contaminated sites that are vulnerable to wildfire, said Dr. Owen Sutton, a postdoctoral fellow in the Faculty of Environment at Waterloo. See, with all this pollution and all of the problems, or if we look at it this way, opportunities that arise from different mining and different industries, artificial intelligence can change the world for the better. And I've been talking about this for years. So many people talk about what artificial intelligence will do to take over the world. Well, what will it do to save the world? Because recent formulas, by using artificial intelligence, according to different articles, one that I'm going to share with you in a minute, by using artificial intelligence, scientists have figured out how to break down forever chemicals. And forever chemicals are a really big deal. So if we use artificial intelligence technology and the proper software with the best computers, scientists are going to come up with ways to mine without causing such destruction or long-term problems or consequences like arsenic and other toxins that have been left from mining. Artificial intelligence will figure out ways to help save the environment. Mark my words. Halo. Listen to this. NewAtlas.com. 100% of toxic forever chemicals break down overnight. A new reaction. Scientists in Japan have developed a new method for breaking down toxic forever chemicals quickly and at room temperature. The technique broke down 100% of certain types of these pollutants overnight, recovering some useful components for reuse. PER and polyfluoroalkyl substances, or forever chemicals, PFAS, are a broad class of chemicals that have excellent stability and resistance to water and heat, largely thanks to their strong carbon-fluorine bonds. This makes them perfect for everything from non-stick cookware to firefighting foam and water-repellent clothing. But those super strong bonds have a downside. They don't break down. The chemicals tend to linger in the environment essentially forever, hence the nickname. Worse still, they accumulate in the human body. They've been linked to diabetes, fertility issues, various cancers, immune system disruption, and many other health conditions. I'm going to show this method off real quick. It's from New Atlas. So it says here, the method recovers fluorine ions from PFAS under mild conditions for a sustainable fluorine recycling society. Scientists at Ritsumeikan University in Japan have developed a new method for breaking down PFAS, semiconductor nanocrystals of cadmium sulfide, some of which are doped in copper, are the active ingredients in a solution that also contains water, a compound called TEOA, and of course, PFAS chemicals waiting to be treated. When the solution is exposed to LED lights at wavelengths of 405 nanometers, the nanocrystals become excited and cause the PFAS molecules to stick to their surface. At the same time, electrons are generated and excited in the solution until they remove fluorine ions from the PFAS molecules, breaking those sturdy bonds. In tests, this method successfully broke down 100% of a particular PFAS called, well, I'll just show you the word here, in just 8 hours. Another called Naphthalene broke down by 81% in 24 hours. This was achieved at a temperature of just 100 degrees Fahrenheit, far cooler than the 400 degrees Celsius or 752 degrees Fahrenheit usually required. The technique also recovers the fluorine ions, allowing them to be reused for other industrial applications. The technique is similar to many others that use a catalyst to break down PFAS molecules, but usually UV light is required and often a higher temperature. Other teams have found success with similar reactions using supercritical water, magnetic particles, hydrogen, or boron nitride. Ultimately, having a mix of options for breaking down PFAS could be the best solution. The research was published in the Journal of Angewandte Chemie International edition. Well, I'm glad to hear that because we go to the article here, local12.com news. New study finds dangerous forever chemicals in food, homes, and even on pets. Forever chemicals get their name for how long they remain in the human body and environment. A recent study has revealed why they might be so dangerously common. A study from 2007 found that an estimated 98% of Americans had PFAS in their body, and the chemicals have only become more prevalent since then. A new study from Environmental Health Perspectives found PFAS in a variety of crops we eat every day. Apples, corn, kale, spinach, strawberries, even wheat are often sprayed with pesticides that contain these forever chemicals. Some slightly modified pesticides that still include PFAS are also used inside homes to kill bugs, as well as on household pets to prevent fleas. Research is still being done on the effects of PFAS in humans and on the environment. Experts don't know everything about the chemicals yet, but they are sure that they disrupt hormones in the body. The ATSDR also provided examples of common ways to be exposed to PFAS, including drinking water from contaminated sources, eating fish from contaminated water, breathing in contaminated dust, eating food produced in or near contaminated areas, eating food packaged in materials containing PFAS, consuming residue from products that use PFAS, like personal care products, water, repellent clothing, and cleaning products as examples. Although they advise reducing exposure to PFAS until more research is completed, they emphasize that nearly all people in the U.S. have had exposure to PFAS. Wonderful. It's because they love you so much, folks. Don't worry about it. They love you. There you have it, folks. There you have it. Party on and be the change the world needs to see. It starts with you.